I'm here in Yuendumu, where the community has dispersed to consider a fairly extraordinary set of findings from Coroner Elizabeth Armitage.
Kumanjayi's passing is a tragedy for him and for those who knew and loved him.
Coroner Armitage has had epic hearings into the death of Kumanjayi Walker. These hearings were supposed to wind up in 2022, but there was a very complex set of evidence. And then, of course, there were legal challenges to that evidence. It's been a stop-start affair. Today was the finish.
Evidence in this inquest has been distressing to hear, particularly for those who loved Kumanjayi. I acknowledge that participating in these proceedings has taken a toll on Kumanjayi's family and this community.
Elizabeth Armitage came here to Yuendumu, about 240 kilometres east of Alice Springs, and she has made some fairly plain statements, including that Zachary Rolfe, the police officer who shot Kumanjayi Walker, was racist.
I found that Mr Rolfe was racist and that he worked in and was the beneficiary of an organisation with hallmarks of institutional racism.
She's also found institutional racism inside the police in the Northern Territory.
I found that racist language and actions were not confined to Mr Rolfe, and this was not a case of one bad apple.
And she hasn't pulled any punches there. She's talked about Zachary Rolfe as someone who ran on adrenaline at times, went towards danger, and she's linked those traits to the events of October 9, 2019, when Kumanjayi Walker was shot dead not far from here in a house.
Lots of Yapa here in Yuendumu are not overly confident that the Country Liberal Party government will accept any of the recommendations given their track record when it comes to Aboriginal affairs. We heard the coroner talk about the need for independent reviews into systemic racism, and we've heard the Northern Territory government recently cut funding for an independent review into racism in the Northern Territory Police Force. Some 20 years on, we're still seeing deaths in custody at unprecedented levels. So there is a real sense of caution and anxiety about these coronial recommendations, and really people frustrated saying, well, what's going to happen? What is going to change?
What we had at that inquest over a long period of time was evidence from Mr Rolfe, who's no longer a police officer, that he was in a system that was itself very racist, and he brought out evidence including awards that detectives gave each other, and then he produced some A4 sheets to show what those awards looked like. The lawyer assisting Elizabeth Armitage did not deny that those awards existed or even downplay their significance, but she did say that evidence from Zachary Rolfe was self-serving and perhaps an attempt to distract from what he was really there for.
A single coroner in a single inquest is not well equipped to definitively explain why racism might develop in a young police officer like Mr Rolfe, or in a complex work environment like the Alice Springs Police Station.
So what we've got now is a set of findings that the MT Police will have to seriously consider. There is also an attempt by the coroner to have the police deal in a much more meaningful way with remote communities such as Yuendumu.
You can't listen to what the government and Northern Territory government are doing right now. They are against our kids and against us all.